I think that because the book is different than what you really think it is. We do talk a lot about Alaska because that's the main thing. But it really is survival from 4 years and on to present day. And it's survival. My thing is surviving all that. And it's not just the bush. It's talking about real life. It's talking about real life events going through my life. So it does change, but it all links together because it was my life. But I don't have any advice for anybody. I don't have any, I can't say, oh, if you try this and stuff like that. No, I don't know why. And I don't know how I survived.
Everybody, welcome back to Living the Next Chapter. It's the author podcast. We get to meet amazing authors from around the world. Great stories to share with you. David's here with me today. I'm excited to have him on the show. And we're going to get a chance to take a flight and go back in time and learn a little bit about some of history that you might not be fully aware of. But Dave's lived it through his family and personally, and has written a book about it, and it's going to share a story. I'm so excited to have David on the show. David, welcome to Living the Next Chapter. Glad to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much, Dave. I appreciate being on your show, and I'm honored to be here as a guest.
Excellent. It's really great to have you here, Dave. Tell everybody where you are right now in this big world of ours.
Well, I am on the West Coast. I'm far away from you, so I'm in the state of Oregon, and that's where I semi-retire up here. And there's no snow, Dave. There's no snow.
No, nothing.
Not like in New York or anything like that, where you guys got bombarded. Yeah. But I know you're not in New York, yeah. But I can't believe there's no snow. We're supposed to be in 3 feet of snow, and the lawns are green. No, I'm not kidding.
Dave, we have authors that listen to the show. They come here, they're looking for inspiration from a fellow author, somebody who's further down the path than they are. What would have been helpful for you to hear as a new author learning how to do what you do now? What would have been helpful to hear back early days, do you think, that we could share with somebody listening to encourage them?
Well, I could just say in general for myself, how the heck do you do this?
Yeah, right.
I knew nothing. I didn't study anything other than what I was in with school, with high school, and then of course when I went to college, you had to write essays and you had to write all kinds of things. But a book is vastly different than writing a task for a homework assignment. If you follow what I'm saying, it doesn't matter if the homework assignment is 3 pages, 10 pages, or 50 pages. You know what the ultimate goal is, and you know how to steer the ship to that goal. You might have some errors and stuff like that, but when it comes to writing a book, I was profoundly lucky. And why I say I was lucky is because I wrote my own story. So I didn't have to make anything up.
Right.
Now, if I was a creative writer, I wouldn't be able to do it. It's impossible because I'm not a writer. I'm just a regular Joe out there, and so I knew the whole entire story because it's in my head. I didn't have to try to figure out, does this piece work here? Does that piece work there? No, it was none of that at all. And, but my biggest problem is that I hand wrote this thing. I've been writing it. It took me 25 years to write this book. And after an incident, I started writing it down on paper because I didn't know if I was going to make it or not. So I wrote it down on paper, and I got the vast majority done in that. Then when I started typing it up, I gave it to a lady to read, and there was only 3 chapters in it. But I had over 200 pages. And I didn't know how to put the chapters in. I didn't even know how to label the chapters. I had one chapter was in my past and stuff like that. Then I had another chapter for something else. And then I had a conclusion. And the lady, when she read my stuff, she goes, all you gave me was blah. I go, but it's a story in there. She goes, no, there's nothing in there. She literally took it, and I swear to you, she printed every single page out, and she cut the areas out that she wanted to do, laid it out all on her floor, and started putting the pieces together where the chapters need to go and how to organize all this
Really?
stuff. Yeah. And then she labeled the chapters. She gave me the chapters and gave me names. And then right there, boom,
Yeah.
boom, everything clicked. I was able to rewrite it, make the adjustments and everything like that, add the things that I want to do because this goes in there. That fit nicely. The chapters were simple to understand,
Yeah.
and then that's what I needed to know, how to do that, how to set up those chapters. I mean, and to organize it.
Interesting.
Even though
Yeah.
I had the whole entire book in chronological order all the way, anyways.
Yeah.
Because I started when I'm 4 years old and I go all the way up to now,
Yeah.
present day.
Yeah.
So
It's a little intimidating.
that's what I wish I would have known how to do.
Yeah. It's a little intimidating to get that kind of feedback, right? Because you're thinking, I wrote a pretty good book here. I'm pretty proud of what I've written. This is exactly what I want to write. And then you give it to somebody and they're like, we're going to change this. And you're like, oh, but I really like what I did. Like, I'm proud of what I've done. But it's nice that you took feedback. I like that.
Well, I had to take feedback. I have a dyslexia. And so I'll write something down on a page and it'll be completely different than what I thought.
Oh, okay.
And so it's a rough go for me. And so I'm going, oh no, I have this in there and that. And it turns out it isn't in there, or it's worded badly or something it's so convoluted.
Interesting.
And then once she got that, I had to learn to humble myself decades ago with this disability that I've had. I had to learn, and it's a hard thing. I call it the curse. It's a hard thing to deal with. So I know that there's authors. I'm hoping to be able to help authors out there that have a problem like this.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean you're not intelligent or anything like that. It's just some part of your brain isn't functioning properly. It doesn't mean you're not wise or anything like that. There's people that have dyslexia, have photographic memories, and they still can't spell what they've done, right? You'd think they'd be able to remember the word, but they can't.
Yeah.
It's something in the brain where it just flips things around or changes it. And so it's a real problem. So you just accept it and deal with it. That's what I always told my son. If you have a problem and stuff like that, it's like my science teacher taught me in 7th grade. And I hope I'm not elaborating too long.
No,
right?
it's good.
It's not everybody could be a scientist, right? Some people are going to be historians. Some people are going to be carpenters. The human body isn't designed to be everything. Just because you're a scientist doesn't mean you're a doctor.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
You might be in astrology, but you're not going to have the astrologist come and do heart surgery on you.
Exactly.
So you accept your weaknesses and accept your strengths is what I kind of learned, I guess you could say. And when it comes to things like that, I have to okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, we did that again. And that I just kind of cringe, and then I try to move on as fast as I could. I can't.
I got to imagine there's someone, David, listening who wants to write their book, write a story, or share their story, but has dyslexia as well, and they feel like that's a stop for them. That means I won't be able to do this. But here you are, you've done it through help. You've been able to do it. So to that author specifically with dyslexia, anything about, like you said, work with somebody who can help you to make sense of kind of what you've written and structure it the way this woman did to help you. Anything else that would be helpful for them?
Yeah, and I think the thing is that people with dyslexia are misunderstood people. Because their thoughts and their communication skills, sometimes they have no problem communicating. But in writing, for sure, don't come out the way what you're trying to say. And so like a professional editor or something will completely misunderstand what you're trying to do. Then you have to stick to your guns Now, I could say this with the problem that I have. This is going to sound strange to you, but some days I have mildly okay days, and other days are a complete 100% disaster. So it's not an even thing. But for me, if I write something down and I look at it, and then my mom always said, wait a night, then reread it the next morning. I might not be able to see that for a week, that problem, that error. I might not be able to see that problem for a month, that error. But in 6 months or a year from now, I'll see that problem. I go, why didn't I fix it then? It's as clear as day that I made a mistake there. So you got to stick to your guns, and you have to trust some other people. Even if they misunderstand you, got to try to figure out, try to break down that barrier of getting your point across, what you need across. And that could be very frustrating and very difficult. So try to have patience with yourself. And don't get upset if you can't understand it or if you need these changes. Just walk through it calmly and happily and just keep going forward. Is my best advice. That's all I could say about that. And it is difficult.
Did you ever question yourself whether or not you could actually write the book?
No, because I knew the whole story.
Yeah.
That was never an issue. I didn't have to make anything up. And like I said, I'm not a writer by any stretch of the imagination, but the story was there.
Yeah.
And the details are there. And when I go back and I read the book, and I go on, who wrote that? Well, I didn't write that.
Yeah.
But my wife says I did. And then I'm listening to because, we're having the audiobook done.
Yes.
And I'm bringing tears to my eyes because the narrator is reading the words I wrote. I wrote those words. I wrote that. I know the editor didn't put that in, but where did I feel like I have a very limited vocabulary. And I think people with dyslexia and stuff don't think they're as smart as they actually are. Or understand that they are much more capable in yourself, even though you do.
Yeah.
But my wife always says, "Oh, you're twice as smart as what you think all the time. You just don't know it." And I go, "Yeah, but Marcella, who wrote this?" And I know those are my words, but it's just very strange.
Well,
it's a very strange thing.
So the book is Trail of Thoughts, and that is exactly what it is, right? The book kind of outlines kind of all of the things that kind of taken you from, you said, age 4 to current day, and that's kind of the idea behind the book for the readers, right?
Yeah, it's a sprinkle. It's a sprinkle of thoughts, really. I invented that name. I don't know if I invented it, excuse me, but I had that name when I was about 18 years old.
Yeah.
And I started formulating the stories.
Wow.
Probably 17 or 16 years old. I didn't write nothing down, but I kept building it in my head, the whole thing, because I said, this has to be told. This is a historical, a historical book that needs to be treated as a part of history. And that's how I approached it, even from that early age.
Yeah.
Because what we did, not when I say we, I'm saying my stepfather did, was profound. It changed the way people lived in the Arctic.
Yeah.
The native Alaskans.
Well, yeah, I want to get into
Completely
this.
changed that.
I want to get into this because I love history. I love anything to do with that. And that's what I love about your book, is just capturing maybe some unwritten history, maybe history that not everybody would understand or even know, to the extent that you would through your stepfather and the travels and the things that happen. I think that's exciting.
Yeah, it was different, and it's, you're talking to a person that was really there, and so it's yeah.
So tell me more about your stepfather, like what kind of man he was, kind of a little bit of his background as well, as before we jump into more about the book.
Well, he was a giant. I could tell you this. He was a kind, wonderful person, methodical, calculating, business, avid hunter fisher person, pilot. He was an extraordinarily unique human being, and started from zero, nothing. The whole family was poor. Grandfather hand dug the swimming pool in the backyard, the whole thing, and but all his side of the family are extremely intelligent. They were all gifted with extreme high intelligence, and I think his brother. Well, I know my stepfather was a genius, and I'm sure that his brother was a genius too, as my mom. My mom was extremely intelligent, extremely gifted, and I write about that. But he was a giant. He was the biggest native HUD housing contractor in the state of Alaska, and starting from nothing, right? And I'd say, and I'm not trying to over-exaggerate or mess around, I'd definitely say he's the top 10 push pilot in the state of Alaska, I would say, for sure. No doubt about it. I think he flew over 1 million miles in the Arctic, north of the Arctic Circle. Wow. So because of his job.
Yeah.
So it's impressive. It's impressive. Anyways, but he was always calm, always cool. I mean, you couldn't read him. I don't know if he was a poker player. I don't know if he gambled. I don't think so, but I'm sure he would have done very, very well.
Yeah.
And he could read people, and he could persuade people to do things.
Yeah.
That are like, really? But it was business. If you follow what I'm trying to say, he had a typical business mindset. The job matters. That's it. You understand? Yeah. You see where I'm trying to come from? So that's him in a nutshell, I guess I could say. Oh yeah, he was great as far as that goes.
So you would fly with him then?
Oh, I practically lived in the plane.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have a lot of adventures just from the passenger seat, right?
Oh, yeah, just in general, fishing trips and building cabins and the whole thing, I mean, everything was done in the air.
Yeah.
And even when we were living in California, he flew, And so I started out when I was a little kid, flying with him and flying down to Mexico, things like that.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was very interesting.
So flying in the north, though, that's a totally different type of flying with all of the weather and everything that's up there. And then he would fly in his supplies to actually build these communities, as well as him flying himself, you and other people to actually build these things. So he had to bring everything with him, too. Like there wasn't like a Home Depot to run to.
Oh, right? There's nothing there. No, he had to... he contracted out. We're talking about big airplanes. We were just talking before this about the old airplanes. They actually purchased C-119s, the old World War II airplanes. And I used to load cargo on those planes. And the old helicopters, piston-driven helicopters from Vietnam, we had to use helicopters and sometimes he'd use a Hercules and all kinds of different aircraft. So, I mean, he flew, I think, like 12, 14 million pounds north of the Arctic Circle from Anchorage, which is a hell of a feat in itself. I mean, he's building completely brand new villages. The people would actually walk out of their old villages and go into his new village that he built. And that's what it was. So it was a massive operation he built all over the state of Alaska.
It's amazing.
Very, very unique situation. So that's the whole thing.
I guess growing up in that environment and being with your stepfather like that, you get to see people that you might not normally meet down in Mexico, for example, California. These are different people living in a very different climate and environment, different culture. So how did this expand your world?
It's unfair to say because it was a different culture when we moved up to California because I moved up there when I was a kid. when I was, we lived in California.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm listening to Spanish and going down to Baja and things like that. And then next thing you know, I'm in Alaska and I'm going, what? There's snow? What?
Yeah.
Lake Tahoe. We know about snow in Lake Tahoe because we used to go there. But,
Yeah.
we're talking darkness and, cold all the time and things like that. But I got to see the last pure natives. I saw the end of that generation. So it was the last of their generation. I didn't say that in the book, but because that's what I was always told, but I wasn't be able to confirm that. I guess I could have confirmed it, but I just left that out. But it was literally the last generation for sure. Very interesting on that.
So the time frame where you were working with your stepfather and helping to build these communities, roughly what time frame are we talking about? Like from what year to what year were you actually doing this?
Yeah, it was. So he probably 79, I think it is, when you started working out in the villages and stuff like that. And so I'm probably, I can't remember. I'm going 14 years old.
Wow.
13 or 14 years old, all the way up till when I was mid adult working out in the villages.
All right.
Yeah. So number of years, many jobs, not just houses, but commercial schools and things like that, built all over the state. And being in Canada where you are, that the difficulties you can run in because you have lots. I mean, Canada's massive. There's lots of areas where it's uninhabited, right?
Right.
But there's buildings there.
Yeah.
And you're going, how the hell do they do that? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah.
Just like you guys. Yeah.
So you said you actually witnessed families and communities move from their old dwellings to what was built with your stepfather and all the amazing people helping to do this. What were people moving from? Like, what were they living in? That this was like really such a big upgrade for them.
Really, not igloos. Like, as Canadians, we always hear that nonsense, right?
Polar bears and igloos.
They were hunting huts, for survival, but that's what they built them for. But no, these were just, no sewer, no waters, no dilapidated, broken windows, holes in the walls. We're just talking about stuff that was built in the 30s and 40s or whatever, just, and they were about this big. Yeah. And one of the reasons why, if you notice that the more north you go, and the colder it gets, the smaller the houses get. And why is that? Because it takes a lot more energy to heat up a bigger house.
Yeah, right.
So we're talking, a whole family would live in just a little teeny tiny thing. They probably slept in the living room and stuff like that, near the fireplace. And now they're going into a 2-3 bedroom house with flushing toilets, excellent top of the line heat exchanges, top of the line insulation properties, the whole thing like that. Something, it's really something else,
Yeah. What kind of things did you walk away with from your interactions with the communities that you were helping with your stepfather? What kind of, conversations and interactions do these people have with you that left an imprint for you personally that might come out in the book as well for readers? Beauty
of the people.
Yeah.
I don't know if I emphasized that enough. I try to. Beauty of the people. Their love for their environment, their love for animals. I think what they do with the animals is the most loving and generous thing you could do. They eat they consume every bit of it, right? And yes, part of that's due to their generations and stuff like that for survival and all that. But it's still, they're not a throwaway society like we are.
No waste.
And I describe that.
Right.
We're just, who cares? We eat half of McDonald's hamburger and we toss the rest out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Then we're eating our French fries. So that's not how they were at all. Very kind people. They were just lovely to me. There's lots of problems, as you know, in village life and stuff like that. And I write about that, but I didn't write. I wrote about that because it's the way it was. I wrote the way it was, and but love is what I came up with the Native people, and respect. I guess love would equal to, they say to me, love is equal to respect. If you can follow that logic,
Yeah.
so that's what I would say.
When you talk about your stepfather being this bigger than life man, it's interesting that one person can have such a big impact in the world, right? Like here he is, he's got all the skills to do all these things we've talked about. And he could have kept them for himself, created a business from home, worked 9 to 5 and just done life and never had these adventures and never helped these people ever. But he took all of that skill that he had, flying, building, everything, and he took it somewhere where that really needed it. The power of one person's influence, right? And being able to help. It's amazing.
Yeah. And really, and I talk about this in the book, I have one chapter where I describe how he built the houses. It describes, and it's a boring chapter if you don't want to read the technical stuff. So I think I'm one of the few people, I never read this in a book. I was going to put warning, do not read this chapter. but I did put, if you want to skip to the next story, go to chapter whatever.
Yeah.
You don't have to read this part of this chapter. But I think I'm one of the first people to ever do that. I mean, maybe that's not true. I don't know, but I've never seen that before.
No,
so
that's you. That's different.
But I thought it would have been more cute if I would have put warning.
But you might learn how to build a house if you read it. So there you go.
So yeah, that was funny to me.
It's exciting. Who do you think the book would be a good read for, David? If you could imagine the person that's going to read this, I know these are your stories, your personal recounts of your life, but there's an audience for this book. Who would you think would enjoy this?
Well, I apologize. I didn't mean to jump you. I think that, I think all psychologists should read it. End of story. Period. And that's why I put documentation in there and photographs and things like that. I have a site page. I don't know, they call it notes. I didn't even know what notes were. I go talking to the editor. I go, what's a note? She goes, it's citations. I go, oh, okay. Well, I set it up that way so that, because I'm thinking of a, it's historical, but I also was thinking of like a homework assignment. I'm citations. That's how I wrote that
same
in
thing.
there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's how I came up with that. And then I have some photos and stuff like that to show, yeah, these things really did happen. And you don't have to believe me. I don't care if you believe me. It doesn't matter. It's on record. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, but, the evidence weighs heavily into what I'm saying is a truthful events. But, and people will take that for whatever it's worth. But, I got lost on the question. Sorry.
Yeah, just the ideal reader who you think would enjoy this.
Oh, that I think that because the book is different than what you really think it is.
Yeah.
We do talk a lot about Alaska because that's the main thing. But it really is survival from 4 years and on to present day. And it's survival. My thing is surviving all that. And it's not just the bush. It's talking about real life. It's talking about real life events going through my life. So it does change, but it all links together because it was my life.
Yeah.
But I don't have any advice for anybody. I don't have any, I can't say, oh, if you try this and stuff like that. No, I don't know why. And I don't know how I survived. And that's the thing is when people read it, they think. Every person that's read it, whether they liked it or not, they kept thinking about the book. They kept thinking for a long time. And, but I think it's for people who are interested in a survival book, who are interested in history, it's got the whole gamut in there, airplanes, if people love airplanes,
Yeah.
if you love the outdoors, I mean, it goes into fishing, it goes into the whole thing, hunting, the whole thing. It's somebody's real life,
Yeah.
in that.
So we get a picture of you as well. It's not just a story about your stepfather and about the communities that he helped to build, but there's a big chunk of this story is your thoughts, your point of view through the whole process as well.
Yeah, because it's the only point of view I
Yeah.
can say, because it was only my point of view,
Yeah.
And also there's things that I purposely I left out, but I also put in, and that was the hardest thing to write, Dave. How do you write the family dynamic?
Yeah.
And now I had in my head, I had 2 or 3 versions of this book. And I'm sure authors are probably struggling with this. How do you write the family dynamic in there? I could have aired all the dirty laundry out, but I've seen it 1,000 times over, where it takes away from the whole story.
Yeah.
It destroys the entire story. That's all you're left with. Okay, you hate this person, you hate that person. That's it. Well, what about this area? What about that? No. So I left that alone. But also I wrote the truth in there without any. You have to kind of think about it. And if you have a little bit of psychology or kind of like aware of things, you say, "Oh, wow, that's what he was trying to say."
Yeah.
That it's really, you really think about it in a way, as far as that goes. So anyway, so I had a dark version in my head.
Really? Okay.
I had the version I was just talking about, and then I had the other version as a dark comedy, because it could be really funny. Now, it would be a very dark comedy, kind of like, the Evil Dead stories,
Yep.
like that.
Yeah.
It's a dark comedy, right? But so it could go definitely in 3 directions. So I chose the middle of the road. But I wanted to pull. Now, when I was writing the book, I had to change my mind a little bit, because there's some areas where I'm really angry writing this stuff. Really angry. And I'm trying to pull out, but it was hard to pull out. But then there's things so I rewrote it to say what I wanted to say in my own mind, but I had to write it in there because I had to get that in there, because this is the way it was.
Yeah.
Does that make sense in a
Yeah,
way?
it does.
Yeah. So, I found myself apt to change in my mind, and stuff. And then when I came to my son was the hardest chapter to write. Excuse me. I'm not saying it was the hardest. Everything just flew. It was 100%, everything just flew out of me.
Yeah.
With him, but but the problem with my son's chapter, his name's Robert, God bless his soul, writing about him, the hardest part was turning him into a saint. And as I was writing it, I could feel myself. I could have had him walking on water, if you understand what I'm trying to say. And now I could see that when I read other people's books, or if I read like mythical stories and stuff, I could see how someone would write like that. You can't help it. I think it comes natural to write that way.
Yeah.
So I had to really pull back from that stuff on it. That was the hardest part about writing my son's chapter. Pulling back, because there's lots of stuff I could have wrote about my son. Nobody would believe me. Nobody would believe me. There's no chance in hell. And then it'd be like, okay, this guy's overinflating his son, is this and that. No, it's not like that at all. But yeah, that was difficult. But yeah, so if parenting, so parents might want to read this and stuff, and surviving aftermath of personal grief and things like that. that might be, but again, and it's still the conclusion of the book. And I'm not trying to sell, if people want to read the book, that's fine. If they don't, but in the conclusion, I just don't want people to contact me and say, do you have an answer for this and that? And the answer is, no, I don't. I don't. I don't have any wisdom to give you. How to survive, how to deal with such tragedy. I don't, because I think everybody internalizes it in a different way, and there's no way to like help someone out of that situation.
Yeah.
They have to walk through it themselves, unfortunately. They could take little advice here and there and stuff, but when you go through something like that difficulty, everything, just bounces off of you. You don't know what to do. You're just in a massive whirlwind when it comes to things like that.
Right.
So, and I would never dare to tell a parent how to feel or what to do. Like, not even.
Yeah.
Anyways, so.
Yeah. The process of writing a trail of thoughts, for you as a writer, as an author, how are you different in writing your book? How have you changed, do you think, from the time you started writing this years ago, and this whole journey you've been on? This is not something you wrote on a weekend. You've written this over a long period of your life. The fact that the book's out there, like, how are you different as a person now?
I'm about the same, because it was always the same story for me.
Yeah.
My wife said when I first started writing the book, I had a lot of F words in there,
Yeah.
a lot of swearing. And I go, really? She said, yeah. And speaking of the thing, I go, are you kidding? I don't want that. That's not what I was trying to do. But apparently, I guess there was a lot of anger in me. So.
Wow.
But and joy. There's lots of anger. It's extreme, because the beauty of Alaska, the beautiness, the things I did were just beyond belief, and things like that. So I'm dealing with two extreme emotions, right? Extreme joy and loveliness, and some extreme hardship. But I don't think I've changed. I think the thing that changed me just a little bit is the disbelief that I wrote that. Those are my words. Especially here, the narrative. Wait till you hear the narrative. That should be done any day. We're just mixing the sounds, the historical airplane sounds and stuff. That took me a long time to get those sounds and mixing in this stuff. So I got all the sounds from all the old aircrafts and everything in the audio, and in the audio. But like my wife and I, like we just picked out the music and we both started crying a little bit, and I don't. So I think the thing is that it's out there.
Yeah.
I'm not really. I'm just glad that the process is over. That's all, because it's been like a thing in the back of my head, just gnawing at me all the time. I got to finish the book. I got to write the book. Yeah, I'm talking 25 years is a long time.
Yeah.
So just that relief of, okay, I finally got the damn thing done.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about it anymore. It's thank God. That's the relief, I guess. I guess it's like, because I got my master's degree. I guess after I got my master's degree, I didn't know what to do. I had to look around and said, now what do? I don't have a homework assignment? What do you mean I don't have an essay to write? I don't have a final? I think that's how I feel on it, But the audio book, oh my gosh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I got that translated, the narrative into Spanish too.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's unbelievable. We just got to migrate the sound effects over into there and then release that. But yeah, I think people will be pretty impressed with the audiobook, honestly.
When's the last time you set foot in Alaska?
Well, I was with my son, and I write about that.
Yeah.
And I got to take him on some of the places.
Oh, really? Good.
That I did. Our old cabin, rented airplanes, and fishing, and the whole thing. And so I write about that in the book there, and there's some photos and things like that. So that was the last time. I guess it was probably, really time is elusive to me now. I don't know. I'm 3 years ago, maybe.
Really?
I can't remember. 4 years.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I got friends that live up there, and I might go up there this year and visit with them a little bit. So,
nice.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So when did the book come out, David?
It came out. I think it came out around September, August.
Okay.
I can't. He's somewhere in there, 25.
Yeah.
And oh, this is one thing I want to tell the authors.
Oh, yes.
Oh, this was a nightmare. The wrong version was published.
Oh, here we go.
I almost heart attack. I couldn't believe it. We're reading the book, you know. I go, Marcella. Sorry, that's my beautiful wife
yes.
name. I go, I didn't. I removed that, but this was supposed to be this way. There was a lot of things in there. This is one thing that as an author I didn't know about. I just learned this. There was a ton of repeats in the first version, and I thought the editors removed all that, but they didn't. And there was things that were worded backwards that should have been fixed.
Yep.
They weren't caught. So my wife and I just ripped the whole thing. We went A to Z. We didn't change the content or anything like that. But I took out a lot of the repeating stuff because I didn't know they were in there. So I got rid of that. I fixed some of the language in there, things like that, and then reset it. So now it's the way I want it. There's still some errors in it, though.
Yeah.
There's still some minor grammatical errors and maybe a sentence or two structures that aren't right. And but I didn't care. I wanted that in. I just said the hell with it because I didn't write this freaking thing.
Yeah.
I wrote it
Good.
as a person. So I say, you know, it's like I told myself, I'm not fixing that.
Yeah.
The heck with it. They're, you know, but they're very minor and but they're there. So that's the way it goes. But the thing is don't trust your editors.
Yeah. There you go.
Don't trust the editors. That was shocking to me, especially with someone who has dyslexia.
Yeah.
You're just like, you're putting a lot of faith into them. And sometimes you can overweigh yourself with that faith.
Right.
So have someone else read it and have 2 or 3 people read it, before you release it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And then try to cut those embarrassments out if you can.
There you go.
But there's one quick thing, Dave.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
I just wanted to
that's
say.
good.
I didn't know until like about 3 weeks ago or a month ago that writers, the standard writer, repeats themselves throughout the book. It's a natural thing to do, I suppose. And I thought, God, man, this really. I go, how did I repeat that? I took that out. I already said it over here. How did that come into there? But yeah. But so I'm thinking, okay, well, my dyslexia or something like that, I screwed that up. I messed that up. But no, I guess that's a natural thing. So I guess I have to say is that reread it and try to take those repetitive stuff out.
Yeah.
As much as you can.
Interesting.
If you can find them.
If you can find them. Yeah.
If you can find them.
Yeah. So, David, for the listeners, readers, they want to come follow your journey. They want to go on a trail of thoughts with you. Where are we going to send a listener so they can reach out to you and contact you about the book?
Well, I just have a little tiny website. It's like a pocket card,
Yeah.
That's all it is to me. It just lists, it's on trailsofthoughts.com.
Okay.
Trailsofthoughts.com, and same as the title. And you can buy it on Amazon. You can buy it anywhere. It's in 5 different languages right now: Spanish, English, French, German. What else is there? And Hebrew and Arabic are coming out.
Wow.
In the next 2 weeks. But Portuguese just got finished. It's online and published. And
Nice.
But you could just go to my little tiny website and you can purchase the book there. And I have a little thing for email comments and things like that. But I don't have a blog or anything. I'm not interested in anything like that.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. I'm just the guy who put it out there, and hopefully people are interested. They get it, and if they don't want to get it, that's fine too. But I wrote the book for myself. I didn't write it for other people.
Yeah.
I wrote it for myself in case I had Alzheimer's.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's about it.
It's good. And then the audiobook will be coming shortly, so we can look forward to that as well.
Yeah, I mean, he might even be done with it today. I mean, it's just we're right at that, just at the final. But I got to tell you something. The book is really really good. I mean, it's a highly what do you call it? High value book
Yeah.
as far as like quality. High quality book is what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
You know, so it's high quality. But the audio book, I'm telling you, if you don't like my writing, if you don't like anything I say, you should listen to it just for the historical sounds of the airplanes and stuff like that. I mean, it blows me away. It just blows me away. So just that alone is worth getting the audiobook.
Well, excellent. David, it's great to have you on the show. Congratulations on the book. And again, for all of the impact you and your family have had over the years in Alaska and helping communities to find somewhere safe to live, and just the service and the love that you guys have demonstrated through your family to help other people. That's amazing. That's incredible just to think of that. But the fact that you're able to take some of these thoughts and pull them together in your book to share with us, to keep that history on for other people. I think anybody that lives in Alaska is going to love this book as well. There's going to be a lot of great touch points for a lot of people listening that are going to be, I want a copy of this book. Somebody whose father, grandfather, parent was a pilot, doing the same types of flights your stepfather did. They'll find value. There's a lot of great touch points here for people to fall in love with these stories. So thank you for creating these and putting these out in the world for us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. And it's been a real joy and pleasure talking to you about this today.
Excellent.
And to your audience.
Excellent. David, thank you everybody for listening, being part of this. Go to the links in the show notes. When you buy David's book, Trail of Thoughts, please leave a great review. Let people know why you love the book. That's going to help more people to see that, respond to your comments, and then help them to decide this is the right book for them. If you know somebody who has any ties to Alaska, piloting, doing the things that David has talked about, that his stepfather has done, then please share this episode with them. Let them know about this book so we can get it into more hands and share more stories. Again, David, thank you so much for being part of the podcast.
Thank you, Dave.
Hey, thank you so much again for pressing play. As you've heard, great guests on the show. And one thing you didn't hear in this conversation is what? What did you not hear? Think about it for a second. That's right. Not a single solitary commercial for a mattress or a supplement or a whatever you call it. No. Why? Because we don't want to break up the conversation with commercials. So the fact that you're still here means that you are a fan of the show, I'm assuming. So if you want to help to keep the podcast going and to make me feel really happy, all I really care about is coffee, okay? I just got to be honest. I love coffee. I'm drinking one right now. It's starting to get cold. I need to warm it up. Helping us with our Buy Me a Coffee link over at livingthenextchapter.com and also in the show notes helps kind of keep the lights on around here. Remember, I'm doing this for free. I'm paying for everything. So I would love to have a little coffee donation, even $5 kind of fills up my cup. And I would love to enjoy a coffee from you. So if you're interested, again, thank you for listening. But you can use our Buy Me a Coffee link and fill up the cup. Thanks for being here.